Welcome to another episode of Qigong Delights. We're going to do some movement today. It's going to be gentle movement, but I want you to pay attention to the way that the tissues are, right? So we don't want to go into stretching the muscles. That's not completely true, but first we want to move the tissues. We expand the energy, right, into the fascial tissues. Then we create expansion, extension in the body. We create more space in the body. It makes us more comfortable. When we're more comfortable, we're just happier. We're going to work with a little bit of movement dynamics. I started doing this last week. Just feel the rotation first. So notice the rotation of the hip. Are you going inside and outside? Inside and outside. So this hip has to move in the joint. You know, are you taking other places around with you? Or can you stabilize this hip? It's important to get into the details and see how we move. Because if you watch me do a movement, chances are you'll be doing a different movement that you think is the same, but often it's not, because our eyes tell us about something and we think that moving in a big way is better than moving in a small way. So here I'm moving in a very small way, but these small movements really penetrate to open you. The other way, so just the hips. So I'm not really turning the body, I'm not creating as much traction. I mean, I kind of do it naturally, but I'm just softly rotating the hip. And feel the restrictions. There might be some restrictions in the back of the hip. Putting the foot down. So that's important, to put the foot down and start again by dropping the knee in. Just simple joint movements. How do we move? Where does our body not move? You're feeling this in your low back. You're feeling some restrictions in your glutes. It's definitely possible. Okay, let's go back and now do this as a much more structured movement and see if it feels any different from having just investigated the hip. So notice that the elbows are involved here. And by pushing down, I'm creating space in my left hip, your right hip. If you're mirroring me, the standing leg, I'm pushing down, I'm creating space in here. But my knee's not locked. My knee isn't bent. That would look like this. I don't get any traction. But it's also not locked. I'm not stiff like this. My knee is locked. I can't move my hips when my knees are locked. It's very hard. The tension goes in the low back. So understanding what you're actually doing is a great clue. You know, so just gently feeling, seeing if you're going horizontal. So are you doing this, lifting your hip and your shoulder to get around? Or can you go horizontal and stand taller in the standing leg? We wanted do you know if your shoulders are horizontal? Are you trying to make your shoulders horizontal? What's happening in the back of your neck and your spine? Are you lengthening your spine. Traction. Traction is the key to any kind of stretching or creating space in the body. You need traction. You need something moving to oppose the movement. If you just move everything, then nothing really gets open. You're just open where you're open. Super important, okay? The knees are also super important. So just investigate the knees, how the knees roll. You know, the knees basically should not take your weight. You don't want your weight on your knees. The knees are designed to transfer your weight between your hips and your feet. So when we put a lot of weight on our knees, and posturally a lot of us do, it's really hard on your knees, and you end up, when you get old, having knee replacements. So go the other way. And just feel how your balance rolls. You do this every day, you get smooth. You get smooth in your hips. You get smooth in your knees. Looking up like this at the screen. Don't. Lengthen your body, lengthen your spine, lengthen your neck. Is your tailbone sticking out? Are you doing this with your butt sticking out? You don't get much movement. And you certainly don't get the ease in the hips. You have to pull your tailbone down. Okay, coming up. So the knees. Moving the joints. Externally rotating the knees from the hips. How does that feel? And the other way. So when I do these movements, I constantly feel extension in my low back. From doing this a lot, the body naturally takes on the correct form. You have to listen to your body. You can't force the movement. You have to understand how the body wants to do it. So, which is why I'm trying to go into some detail today about, what does your body tell you and how can you coax it to relax and move more smoothly, more comfortably. So, hands on your low back, hip circles. Smooth. Are you smooth? What's going on with your head? Are you doing it like this? Or can you keep your head still and move around your head? Go the other way. You might notice, maybe you don't, but if you just play with the position of your chin, keeping your neck long, this connects the whole back line of fascia in your body. So the back line in your body is the bladder meridian, primarily runs all the way through the back line. It runs through the fascia in the back. I find it, easier to look at sheets of fascia in Western physiology, than, if you look at the meridians, you know that those meridians are running through the fascial planes. Go the other way. I think we did go the other way, yeah? We'll go the other way again. So just feel this movement. See if it's getting smoother. If you do this with me twice a week, it's probably getting smoother. And the other way again. Try to feel how your neck is connected through your chin, because the fascia ends in your eyebrows. So it comes over the top of your head and connects you so that when the chin is tucked, you're actually stretching the back line. The back line runs from the soles of the feet over the top of your head. To the other side, the front line runs from the top of your feet up the front of your body and around your neck to the back, so that we're connected forward and back by this fascial wetsuit. Okay, time for relaxing your elbows. So, the turtle. So, chin down and in, up. So gently, you might feel, maybe you're trying to do it like this, but that's not going to get you anywhere. So you want to create traction in your back. So the spine is straight, the elbows can give you a little bit of traction. I'm not forcing my back into anything, but when I drop my neck now, my back is straight. So the energy is straight in my back, and I'm stretching only my neck. And that stretch isn't going away. It's not dissipating into lower muscles or into places where I'm already flexible. That's really the key, is to not just go to the place that you can already go to, but to gently explore new territory. Go slow and gentle. So try to not force this. It's easy to try to force your neck to do things. And really, it's not a very good thing to do. And sliding the chin down when lifting the back of the neck, and then digging down again. You might hear some cracking. You might just feel the crunch of cartilage. It's not really cracking, it's just the cartilage creating space. So bubbles in the cartilage are making space, and you're not creating further stiffness when you move. So now the opposite, so the chin comes up and stretching the neck forward into the sternum. For the crane neck. Turtleneck and crane neck movements. So we want to feel what's going on here, but we don't want to push. So sometimes it's hard to not push. And notice if you're doing this, right? If more of your body's moving than just your neck. Okay, so side to side. Okay. Corner to corner. Not holding it today, being gentle. Don't throw your head around. See if you can just ear to the shoulder, ear to the shoulder, ear to the shoulder, ear to the shoulder. So just tilt your head. Don't tilt your body. I mean, that's fun too, but right now, just your neck. Ear to the shoulder. Just a few times, keeping your shoulders away from your ears. Super important. Okay, so now, chin forward and back. Just a few. Ear to the side walls, right? So head vertical, and now take your ear to the side. So stretching, getting into controlling these muscles that we don't control much. Seeing if you can figure out where this movement comes from. I try to do this once in a while because, you know, our bodies can do it. So be careful, I'm not doing this one anymore. I'm not doing this one. I'm not doing this. My chin, I'm trying to keep vertical, trying to keep my head vertical and shifting. So what's moving? Circles like this, so on the same plane. This is also difficult. Keeping the chin level, making circles. And the other way. If this is hard, do it once in a while. And it gets easier. You start to, your nervous system adapts and you start to find how to move these places again where you've lost it. And finally, so now just big chin and nose circling. Just going to do 4. Slowly, carefully. 4, and the other way. Okay, so shoulders. You know this by now. Bring your shoulders up. So bend your knees. Lift now from your waist. Pull your tailbone towards your heels and lift your shoulders from your waist. Pull your waist down and your shoulders up, your rib cage up, everything up. So equal front and back. Maybe roll your shoulders front and back a little bit to try to the side. Notice what's sticking. Shoulders to the ears. So I know a lot of you are like here, and this is already hard, but really try to grab your shoulders and pull them up high. Right? Get into this tension, and then when you release it, it feels so good. A little bit of penguin. A little bit of penguin the other way. Stretching the sides. Okay, and now the first time, just gently let them down, bend your knees and sink all the way down. And then lift them up again. Straighten the knees, lift them up. Lift everything up. Pull your tailbone down towards your heels. Don't stick your butt out. And now sink down everything. Oh, it's a little different. Notice if your weight's going towards the balls of your feet, make the weight go towards the balls of your feet. Lifting up, tailbone down, hold them up, and down. Up. Tailbone down, so now stretch again, pull your tailbone down, pull your hips down, shoulders up, swing your arms. And now gently come down, bend your knees, sinking down. Again, up, tailbone down, knees down, bring down the right shoulder. Oops. Keep the left shoulder up, stay vertical. Center is vertical. Pull the right shoulder down. Pull the left shoulder up, keep your head vertical, keep your hips vertical. Traction. Don't be like this. Don't be like this. Head vertical. And now switch. One up, one down. From the waist, from above the waist. Pull one up and one down. Stay vertical. And now release everything. Up. Bring your hands up. And let go. And again, so exhale through the mouth. Okay, one more. Exhale through the mouth. Now turn your hands up. Exhale through the mouth. Okay. Feel your shoulders. We'll continue with this. So, shoulder circles. So, one after the other. This should feel good now. Hopefully, this feels really good. After the last, I can come a little closer. You don't need to see my feet. Go the other way. You can use your elbows. Get your elbows up and do this. Okay. Okay, so we've done some like broad strokes here. Sink down. And just move from the qua. So see if you can do this qua movement. You're looking straight ahead. The chin is, back of the neck is long, looking under the brim of a hat, looking in the distance, so you're probably looking at the screen. So just feel like you're looking in the distance. And don't focus on the screen, but notice if your hands are going forward and back, or side to side, right? If they're going side to side, you're not using the internal muscles. So one hip pushes forward and the other one pulls back. There's traction in the hips. We do this when we walk. If our hips are healthy, most of us don't do this when we walk. Our hips don't move at all. But feel this qua movement. If the qua isn't open, the spine won't be flexible. You can't build a dantian, so you can't tap into your own energy. You're always using more energy than you need to. So we need to loosen the qua, and we will do a qua day, kind of like a spa day. Not really, but we'll do a day of qua exercise, at least half the class, to try to understand exercises that help you open the qua. And, you know, we're doing a little bit of that today, but I'm just going to focus on that at another time. And this is really good. So notice now, if you're still doing this, and try to pull one back and push one forward instead of rotating. So pulling one hip back, pulling the other hip back. You can't do this with your butt sticking out. It would look like this. You have to pull your tailbone down. See, you can't do this with an anterior pelvic tilt. There's nothing to move in here. You can't do it if you try to pull your tailbone under, like a lot of people think they're supposed to do when they do Qigong, and the weight goes on the heels. My hands are going around. They're not going back and forth. With the tailbone actually pulled under, my weight is on the lumbar, right? It's on L1. It's on L1 and L2. It's not in the pelvis. It's not grounded. My weight's not in my feet then. It's in my low back. So in order to move, we have to be able to do this. And there's a natural anterior pelvic tilt that we need to get back to or develop. If we have a posterior pelvic tilt, if we have a flat back, you know, I have a pretty flat back. I'm working on this for a long time. Okay. So notice how you're feeling. Now, where does the movement come from? So where does balance come from? Get on your toe, right? So balancing on this side, lift your knee. See if you can let the lower leg hang. And notice if you're vertical, if you have trouble balancing, try using your elbows. So instead of doing this, you know, if you put the energy in the elbows, the elbows will hold you up in this position. Tap the foot, lift it. Tap the foot, lift it. We're going to build some strength in here. You don't have to lift it this high. Just continuing to, just a couple more, stretch through the opposite groin, put it down. So did you notice the difference? If you're trying to do it like this, you don't have the balance. But if you just use your elbows, just hold it up there and see if you can release from the knee down. Release the foot. Oh, not like this, like that. Toe down, but don't hold it down. It's okay to lose your balance. You can have a chair if you're infirm at any age. If you don't balance, if you're not used to balancing, notice how much of your foot you're using in the standing leg. I should have said that earlier. Notice the difference. If you just use your elbows, what happens in your low back? Your low back gets involved and stabilizes you. And then and down. So balance, balance, balance. Pick up this foot, balance through your elbows, circles. This gives you an opportunity to rotate the hip. See, rotate the hip. How does the foot, where's the foot going? How much rotation do you have in this hip? Can you keep your foot out to the side, turn the heel back, and pull the foot forward? So, you know, if this is kind of wimpy to you, good. It's an exploration so that you can feel the connection, first of all, between your elbows and your balance, but also through the extension of that leg and building strength in the standing leg. And bring it back. And we'll do the other leg. We'll go backwards on each leg. We're going to do this, obviously we do this for a little while. And then we'll rotate. So I don't want to wear you out. I don't want to wear myself out either. Right? And notice the difference. Turning the hip. So not just mindlessly doing this, but you know, what direction is your foot pointing in? What direction is your heel pointing in? Okay, shake it out a little bit. Feel your hips now. I mean, feel you stretched your hips pretty good in these last two exercises. So now if we pull the foot back and around. Where does it turn? Where does your hip turn? Where is it hard to turn? Can you turn your foot back to forward? So the heel comes out, reaching the foot, turning the foot back to forward, creating a rotation in this hip and challenging your balance. And noticing again how much of your foot in the standing leg you're standing on. Okay. See, simple movement can be really challenging. Yeah? I don't think anybody is going to say that that's not particularly challenging. You make it slower, it gets more challenging. So, this leg is lazy. I have a tendency not to turn it. Oop. Bring it back. Move your hips. Kick it out a little bit. Take your hand and put it in your armpit. Notice if you're straight, so bend your knees a little bit. Notice if you're leaning, letting the other arm be free, seeing if you can just relax this arm down on your body, just let it relax. Just let it relax. I want you to try to feel what's happening in your sacrum and your low back when you do this. So, you know, I'm fairly imbalanced. My right shoulder is higher. I mean, I know all of my asymmetries and all of my weaknesses. And so this simple movement forces my rib cage into balance just by relaxing this arm. This arm is relaxed. I'm not holding it up here. It's just relaxed and sitting in my armpit. Okay, that's enough of that. So bring this down and over. So is your shoulder up? So put your arm here on the side and notice if your shoulder is up. And now just slide it down. Lift it up. Bring it to the side and down. So the other side. Turning. Notice if you have to hold it or if you can just let go of this shoulder, let it be heavy. Not easy for me. Not easy for me to let go of that shoulder and let the armpit come, let the elbow come center. And I know that, my body wants to do this instead of that. Or I can feel it, that my shoulders don't want to be horizontal. I want to do it on this side. This is super gentle. This is super deep. Especially if you do this for a while. You spend a lot of time like this. Notice if you have to hold on to this arm or if you can just let it be there. As my master Deming Lu says, like a gecko hanging on the wall, right? That's how much energy you're putting into holding your hand up. Okay, so now wiggle. Wiggle. So feel what's going on in the cartilage in your back. I don't think we did this on the other side, but this is the side that's really hard for me, right? So now, keeping your shoulder down, move your hand over to the side, right? To the side. See, my shoulder wants to come up. Pull the shoulder down. Just wants to lift up there, but I don't want it to lift up. I want it to be level. And now, sending it down. This all doesn't have to be hard and physical, right? So feel your ribcage. See if there's anything that changed, even subtly, from that investigation, from that movement investigation. So we're going to turn this shoulder, turn down. So sinking down, turning, lifting up. Shoulder comes down, twisting. And up, and down, sinking down, and up. I'm staying vertical, and down, sinking down, but not bending over, coming down, from the elbow, lifting, around, down, elbow lifting, and down. See, not doing this. It's keeping me honest having this monitor here, right? So coming down. Lifting from the elbow. And down. Lifting from the elbow, but relax. Lifting, the shoulders stay down, the elbow lifts. Down. 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 Playing with the verticality of this. Just simple movement. Simple movement. Okay. One foot in front of the other. So, the width of your fist. The width of your fist. Between your toes and your heels. We'll start. The weight goes from your back foot. 70-80% of your weight is in your back foot. The front foot is totally light. Right? So you have to, that way, you're a straight line. You tuck your chin a little bit, lengthen your spine from your back foot, and just feel that line. Pull your tailbone towards your heels. As you know, here you can pull your tailbone towards your heels as hard as you can, towards your heels. Right? You can't really tuck it here, so it's safe. It's going to lengthen your spine, and then your chin comes in. So inhale to the side, twist. Exhale, center. Inhale to the other side. Exhale, center. Inhale. Exhale, stretching the sacrum. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Exhale. Feel the stretch in your sacrum. Make yourself tall as you twist. Lift everything from the floor. Straight line. Straighten that spine all the way up to your neck. Traction. Extension. Space in your hips, space in your sacrum. Working your quad by pulling your hips around. Don't forget to lift your foot as you come to that side. Just a few more. Losing my balance. Okay. Hands down. Shifting your weight onto the other leg. Pick up the other foot. Rotate it to the front. Put it down. Don't look at the floor. Don't look at the floor. That's the other part of this. You want to keep your chin level. You're not looking at the floor, okay? So if you want to do this, you're not getting any benefit because you need to keep your eyes up. Don't look at the floor. Now line up your tailbone down, pushing down into your heel. Lifting the back of your neck. So straight line all the way down and inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, exhale. Losing your balance is all part of it. Winding up your sacrum. We all hold so much tension there. So it's easy to not do this. By bending the back leg, nothing happens, right? The back knee can't be bent. If you're wondering why you're not feeling anything, your back knee is bent. If this is easy, your back knee is probably bent. The weight has to be in back. Twisting. This is another great daily exercise. Okay. Bring your front foot, don't look at the floor, back, and settle back into that foot. Bring your hands up here. So they're a little bit away from my chest. So keep your weight in your back foot to the best of your ability, but shift everything forward and lift your elbows forward. So notice I'm not doing this. I'm pushing my upper back and my elbows forward so my hands stay level with my elbows. And then just dropping the elbows. So the weight stays in the back foot. Don't look at the floor. Feel the balance. Go slow. Lifting the elbows up and forward. And then sliding them back down. So letting them drop down, but pushing the elbows up and forward. Not forward and up, but up and forward. You feel this, straighten your upper thoracic when you do this. And that whole back line becomes stretched, and your balance, this is testing your balance. Be calm, breathing. Breathing. You might feel a little crunching going on in your spine, but this lengthen your spine, lengthen. Make sure that your chin is in the same position, right? You want to keep this traction in your neck all the way up to the back of your head. Elbows come down. Don't give up the weight in the back foot. So keep your heel firmly pressed, even when you're coming forward. Keep your heel and your foot firmly engaged in back, even when you drop your weight to the front. You want to have this energy coming from the rear. This is really going to lengthen your spine and open your upper thoracic. Coming back to neutral. Drop the hands. Sink down into your knees. And put your other foot forward. Don't look at the floor. Don't look at your feet. Don't look at the floor. Test it. Bend, straighten your back leg. Hands come to prayer. Elbows forward of your hands, or actually the same level as your hands. Shifting up. And just letting your elbows come back down. So up. Making sure that your hips stay pointed forward and you're not wiggling around. I felt myself wiggling a bit, and I don't want to wiggle. The back foot stays engaged. The back heel stays engaged. You're stretching the inside of the back foot. You're stretching your low back. Very different from side to side for me. This one is all about my low back. My low back on the left side of my body, which would be to your right. That's what really has to stretch here when I do this. So inhale, exhale. Remember, don't bring your hands forward. This is a whole different thing. It's not as effective as when the elbows come forward and then they just drop. So, and they drop as you come back. And never let up on the back foot. The front foot is taking your weight, but you continue to push through the back foot to make you straight. Okay, so now come back. And move. Wiggle a bit. Yeah, kick out your feet a bit. So I want to try, I started a little bit of walking dynamics, right? So I want you to, standing on your left foot, actually we'll start with the left. So standing on your right foot, reach out with your heel, shift your weight onto your toes, this knee is bent, pick up your heel in the right, shift back onto your heel, pick up your heel in the front foot, shift back, put the ball of your foot down, and settle back onto your heel, pick up the foot in the front, pick up the front of the foot in the other foot. So we're just going to shift, this is like stationary Tai Chi walking. We're just using one leg moving, and then we'll do the other leg moving. I want you to feel how the balance shifts. Should have done this before the last exercise, and then we could have done it again, and you would have felt the difference. But if you're watching the replay, you can go back and do it before. Do that exercise, do it again, and then do this again. And let the front of the foot come up. So this is finding your balance. Because I said balance, this is basic dynamics of walking, that we don't walk like this. It's kind of modified Yang Tai Chi walking. But you get this weight shift idea that you know where your balance is before you move your feet. And usually we don't know anything, we just fall into our steps. So this also, when you move like this, look, the hip is swinging. You don't have to pick up. It's a lot less energy. And then when you walk normally, you get in the habit of swinging your hip and balancing before your other foot hits the ground. So that if you trip, you have a much better chance of catching yourself. And when you live in the third world, you end up tripping a lot because there's a lot of stuff on the ground. So if I add my elbows to this, right, just a little bit. I don't want to be like a bird, but I just did that for, right, just feeling the elbows, how the elbows change the balance, and you're much more stable if you walk, you know, with a little bit of regard to your elbows, it also changes your low back. We'll do the other side. We're running out of time. So just forward, back. If you find this easy, you know, make the steps longer. Sink down into it. Also, you notice I'm not rising and falling when I do this. I'm keeping my hips level. As they swing through. This is exaggerated for like walking in the streets, but this translates into your walk when you walk normally, or when you run, you start to swing your hips rather than lift your leg. Just a little back and forth. We're almost done. Coming back. Feel your body, so feel. Feel, 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 feel. Close your eyes. Just before we shake, just feel you. Feel any difference in your tension. Start vibrating from your ankles. So just elbows, a little bit of elbows, spine straight. I always say, you want to shake a branch, you know, the branch shakes everything else. So when you get some structure involved, so you can actually soften your shoulders, right? You don't have to have structure in your shoulders like that. Nothing's going to shake. But your elbows, you can pull your elbows out a little bit. And then let everything vibrate. The shaking is like you want to be vibrating, which will shake the joints loose. So you're just shaking your fascia. You're not really using your muscles to shake here. Notice if your tailbone's trying to stick out, what's going on in your low back. You can lengthen your spine and still do this and pull your tailbone gently towards your heels. You can even shake with close your perineum, right? Lift your perineum and see how much more structure you get. Just gently, gently, a dragon holding a pearl in its mouth. That's how hard we want to grab our perineum. But it changes because it connects you internally. Shake a little more now. So shake your hands. Let your hands go. See if you can get the shaking into your hands. And shake your hands a little bit from the fascia in your wrists. Or shake your hands like your arms are the branches now too. So you have the structure of the bones. You're shaking off the bones. And now just let it subside. Close your eyes. Feel the chi. Feel your energy. Feel your relaxation. Keep your eyes closed. Breathe. Notice your movement. Notice your breath. Notice the state of you in the moment after an hour of Qigong. And right hand on your heart, left hand on your abdomen. Women opposite. Don't open your eyes, don't move. Just feel your palms against your energy centers. Sink your hand into your heart, near your chest, relax your chest. Relax your belly. "12 circles. 1, clockwise, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, reverse, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Keep your eyes closed. Just come back to this. Don't be in a hurry. Bring your feet together. Drop your hands onto your belly. Relax your elbows. Relax your shoulders. Relax your knees. Bend your knees. Sink down. Notice your breath. Relax. Feeling like bamboo in the wind, feel your roots growing down into the earth. We're supported by the earth. The earth is supported by heaven. Heaven supported by the Tao. All supported by nature. The nature of things, the way things are. Take another breath. Okay, release your hands. Thank you for being here. I hope this was good. Any questions, message me. If you want to support me, the links are in the description, and I'm grateful that you're here, and I hope you come back. Bye. Have a great day.